Hi, it's Dr. David Phillips. I was asked recently about the circumstances surrounding how I invented the world's first infrared ear thermometer. I had 4 little children, and the pediatrician was telling us how to take care of the kids and stuff, and they always get colds and stuff. He said, now you gotta take their temperature and do this and that. And I said, well, how do you take the temperature? And he said, we take this mercury and glass thermometer and you hold them still and push it inside the rectum, and you hold them real still, because if it breaks, it could poke a hole in their intestines and the feces can go into the body cavity, creating an infection that could kill them. And if that doesn't do it, then the poisonous mercury in the body cavity, that'll do it. So I said, wow, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Even though my mother had done that in the mouth and stuff for years and years. But now that it was up to me and my own kids, now it got my attention. So I said, how long have people been doing this, Doc? And he said, well, about 1,000 years. I said, well, there's got to be a better way. So I went back to the medical library and I did a whole bunch of research, discovered that the part of the body that manages the thermoregulatory system is a hypothalamus gland. It's in the center of the brain. And it determines and recognizes as a reference for the temperature of the core, the body temperature, to be the temperature of the blood that passes through the center part of the brain. So you either have to drill a hole in the skull and stick a thermometer in there, and that wasn't going to be easy, or do something. So I studied, and I found that the carotid arteries bring the blood up through the neck to the brain, and they bifurcate, they split. And the 2 center parts go right to the hypothalamus, and the 2 side parts go each to an eardrum. So if you know the eardrum temperature, then that's what the best assessment of what the hypothalamus uses to determine the core temperature and to regulate the core temperature. But you can't touch the eardrum because it's very sensitive, very painful. So since I had done the breast cancer detection system with the infrared heat sensing technology, the sensor there was about the size of an aspirin. And they had recently sent me a note saying that, hey, we've invented a smaller one down to the size of about a BB. I didn't think much about it, but I thought, I wonder if I could put that little bitty tiny sensor near the ear canal, focus on the eardrum, and give me that temperature instantaneously. That's what I did. And that turned out really well. That took off. Again, one person telling another. And I wound up getting Inventor of the Year award for that. They made a lot of fun of me because at the time everybody was using the thermometer. Well, and I said, well, I think the ear is a better place. They said, ha, 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 stick it in your ear. So now you can buy these anywhere in Walmart and everything else for about $49. I sold it to Braun, and then they licensed it. Yeah, one interesting thing that I've mentioned before that people get a kick out of hearing is how I actually got the idea for the development of the ear thermometer. Well, I knew it had to have a device where it would aim into the ear, and it had to have a control device and all that. So having been a hypnotherapist for those 10 years before I went back into medicine and got my MD, I was using hypnosis, so I used it on myself. So I would tell myself, I'm too busy. Universe, I call it the universe. People call it God or whatever they want, but it's the universe or your intuition. I said, I'm too busy. I got to go out and cut the grass. So you take care of this and tell me when you're ready. And what happens is when your mind is not so preoccupied with changing oil and the kids' homework getting done and are my shoes shined and my hair combed and all that kind of stuff, then your brain cells are opened up to be free to remember things that you might have forgotten and to get creative. So one of those times is when you're in the shower. If you're in the shower, you're not really thinking about much else other than warm water, and you're relaxed and your body's relaxed. So a lot of these things come to me in the shower. And one day I was in the shower, I kind of looked up in front of me on like a hologram, a 3-dimensional image. Really was. I thought I might be losing my mind. I was floating in midair, and I could turn it around in my mind, and I saw it. I said, oh, there's a little point thing there. That must go in the ear. And there's a square place here. That must be for the LCD to display the temperature. And there's a trigger here. That must be how you turn it on and off. And there's a little compartment in the bottom. That must be where you put the battery. But what was interesting is that I also saw a little rectangular hole, about 1/2 inch wide, and about eighth of an inch tall, just a square hole. When you devise and invent and develop medical devices, there's two parts to it. There's the electronics and there's the enclosure. And they both take about the same amount of time to develop. So you have to work on both of them simultaneously. And when you make an enclosure, they come down in a big machine and put in liquid, put in plastic, it melts it and it puts it out. And when the thing comes down and stamps it, you get half of the shell, and it costs you about 2 cents. Boom, 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 just like that. But if you forget and you have to drill a hole or make an adjustment, now you got to take that piece of plastic, put it on a mandrel, put it on a drill press, bring the drill press down, drill it, deburr it, put it in another place, and then assemble it. So this thing can now cost you about $8 or $10 for what was supposed to cost you 2 cents. So you better get it right, is the point. Since I own the company, I said, okay, here's how we're going to design the electronics. I wanted to do this, this, and that instantaneously and all that. And then here's how it's going to be designed. And they went along with me, and I said that finally one of the guys, the engineer, said, well, what's that little rectangular hole in there for? And I said, I really don't know, but I saw it. And when I see things like that, I believe it. I said, put a hole in there, and if it's unnecessary, we'll just cover it with a label or something. So when it finally all came together and we brought the marketing people in, we had all sitting around this big boardroom and they're discussing about how to market this thing. And one of the guys gets a bright idea. He says, well, you know, this isn't going to be sold just in the United States. It's an international product. Where's the switch to convert centigrade to Fahrenheit? And there was the hole. So he didn't have to do anything. It was already there. So I just put in a little tiny switch and it was there. It was just kind of luck, I gotta admit. Thanks for watching. Again, if you'd hit the subscribe button for us, that'll help. And you have a good day.